Are you guys ready? Ready? One whistle and a clap. Ready? It's a Ric Flair. One whistle and a clap and a Ric Flair. Ready? Okay. All right, just to, I don't know if everybody heard some of those trivia questions, but yes, I did go to college. Alpha University, class of 1984. Went to East Rochester High School, so I am educated. I can read and write, I think, and I'm going to try to prove that today. And first of all, this shirt that they gave me, this is not my color. Mr. Drams gave this, we're in Father Hicks's way. He goes, what color is that? I don't know, it's lime, it's kiwi. But, now you know why I wear black. And I'm a little scarred by wearing like pastels and stuff like that because about 15 years ago, I was teaching at the Hillside Family of Agencies. I had a third, fourth grade class, and I had black shorts and a purple t-shirt on, and a kid called me Barney. You guys know who Barney is? I'm not dating myself, so I was scarred for wearing like nice colored shirts. I stuck with black ever since. But thank you very much for having me here. Tremendous honor to be on the list of, once I get through this, of the alumni of the Agape speakers, and something I'm going to cherish for obviously the rest of my life. And a couple weeks ago, a month ago when you guys asked me to speak at this, and then Mr. Drams comes up and goes, I need a theme. This is like right before Thanksgiving. I need a theme for your talk. I'll let you know on December 9th. I haven't even thought about it yet. So real quick, I said the Gatorade Dump. So he loved it. He ate it up. Now he posts it all over the place saying, damn, he's going to be talking about the Gatorade Dump. So the meaning of the Gatorade Dump, to try to put some satisfy your curiosity. Last night I was with Quinn and Casey and Tim and Andrew. We were at the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Banquet, and I was honored to give the invocation. And in the invocation, I mentioned about the Gatorade Dump being a symbol of victory and success and winning and stuff like that. But more importantly, the Gatorade Dump commemorates a culmination of hard work, dedication, going above and beyond to help other people to a high status. So I get back to our seats after there was a little bit more to the invocation than that, but I get back to the seat and Andrew goes to me, so is that a preview for tomorrow's speech? And I go, I haven't even written the rest of it yet. So last night we leave the banquet and I go, I got still got homework to do. I give you guys homework, and I guess I'm just like you. I wait until the last minute to do my assignment. So last night I went home and finished it off. So hopefully this comes out of my mouth really, really good. So the Gatorade Dump. Now, you probably think of the Gatorade Dump in athletics, coaches getting dumped with the Gatorade. And that's happened to me twice. And I was surprised both times that when it happened. Happened in 2014, this is back when I was the head football coach. And great atmosphere. It was a Friday night football game late in the season. We're playing Wilson for the RCAC championship. Nothing better than a 7 o'clock football game on Tom Seymour Field on a Friday night in McQuaid Jesuit. Well, is Sam Tarnowski here? Where's Sam? Sam's up here someplace. There you are, up there. Well, we're up 14-0, and his brother Jerry picks off a pass and runs into the end zone. We go up 21-0, and now we're able to run the clock out for the win. So as we're taking a knee and stuff like that, I'm just standing there on the sidelines, and two of our players, come up and they just dump the Gatorade bucket right on top of me. And I never, ever have my phone in my pocket. When we have games, I leave my phone in my desk and stuff. But that night, I forgot the phone was in the back pocket, so I'm drenched. Now the phone doesn't work. So I got to pack it in rice for like 2 days. So when it finally came to, I got like, 50, 60 messages about the game and everything. I was like 3 days late and getting all my messages back. But it was a real satisfying experience having it dumped on you. And then in 2016, again, came down to a Friday night, Tom Seymour Field football game for the RCAC championship. We defeat Wilson pretty good that night, and a couple of brothers. Where's Ryan Broderick? Your brother Patrick. Where's Ryan? And where's he's back there someplace. And who else? Teddy and Andrew Shannon. And your brother Will. So Will and Pat Broderick. I'm talking to the team. All of a sudden, Gatorade Dump right on top of me, freezing cold, but it felt so good because it was a win and stuff like that. So I've had a couple douses of the Gatorade, but I think the best picture of the Gatorade Dump was after we beat Aquinas this year, and Brennan Camels and Casey Howlett, the picture that was in the Democratic Chronicle of you, Dallas, and Coach Bates, the other Coach Bates with the water. That was awesome. So there's I get a lot of pleasure in seeing the Gatorade Dump, but the Gatorade Dump doesn't always mean that it's all nice and good. And I got a few stories to tell you here about when I've been dumped with the Gatorade. in a spiritual way that's kind of woken me up, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So let's just get it right out there right now. Yeah, I go to Mass every day. Ever since I was your age, I've gone to daily Mass. Why? I don't know. I just do it. I could probably give you an answer. I go to hear the Word of God. I want to hear what the readings are for the day. But more importantly, I get energized. I see Miss Suter back there because we were on Amos last week, and she goes, "What energizes you?" And I go, the thing that energizes me is when I get the body and blood of Christ into me. And I'm a little uncomfortable talking about this stuff because I kind of like to show my faith instead of having it come out of my mouth. But when I was talking with Miss Suter on retreat last week, getting the body and blood of Christ in my body on a daily basis, that just makes me feel good. That's when I feel most alive. And I've done it since I've been in high school. I always found the daily Masses, and somehow through my life, I just believe in going to daily Mass, hearing the Word, and getting the body and blood of Christ into me. All right? So you probably say to yourself, why aren't you a priest? Why aren't you ordained? Why don't you have a religious lifestyle and stuff like that? And I was. When I was in college, I was in a little program there. I was going to college. I was on a program through the Rochester Diocese, and where's Ryan Brown? Ryan Brown's over here. Your uncles are two ordained priests, and I was in the same program with them. It was like back in 1982. And the funny thing is, they've been ordained priests for 30 plus years, and I've been teaching and coaching for 30 plus years. And every time I see them, I go, yeah, I remember in that those retreats and those programs stuff they had. And I go, yeah, you guys stayed and I didn't. And they're very happy being priests, and I'm very happy that I went into teaching and coaching. And I just thought at that time, they teach a thing called discernment. Discernment is finding your relationship with God. And it takes a lot of thought, a lot of thinking, a lot of prayer. And I was I was playing college football, and I was a history major, and I just had this attraction to go into teaching and coaching just a little bit more than going into the priesthood. So I kind of had to make a decision when I was in grad school, and I got my master's degree and everything. So that's kind of how I kind of gravitated towards teaching and coaching, but I never wanted to lose Jesus Christ in my life. So obviously, I want to be involved in the church and do things for the church. And I talked about the Word of God. My favorite passage from the gospel, and I know some of you guys have been on retreat with me. This might be a rerun for you guys, but my favorite gospel passage is the greatest commandment, and that's when that lawyer was trying to trick Jesus, and he pins him, and he says, "What's the greatest commandment?" And Jesus says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul." And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. And he shuts the lawyer right up. And I guess that's, that's the only thing I ever read out of the Bible. That's what I live by. I love God and I love my neighbor. Now, who's my neighbor? My neighbor is anybody who's not me. So you guys are my neighbor and my friends, everybody in the whole world. So I'm here to help those people out. I try to love God on a daily basis, try to help other people on a daily basis. And that kind of started with me early on in my life. I think I'm a product of my environment. I was born and raised Catholic, went to a Catholic school, but there was this guy in my life, real young. It was my grandfather. His name was Leo Davis. And I love Leo Davis, and but he died when I was 9 years old. But I got a lot of Leo Davis in me when in my early age. In fact, he died on December 12, 1971. So it's coming up on his 48th anniversary, but he was a great guy. He's my hero. Leo Davis, my hero. He's my hero because he was a tough guy. He was a tough guy. He was a guy who loved God, and he was a guy who served others. And Leo Davis, let me just tell you a couple stories about Leo Davis here. I'm not going to get a drink from the Gatorade bucket. I'm going to get a drink from an Aquafina bottle right here. So I'm getting a little sweaty up here. I got a towel here to... People always wonder why you carry towels. Just to go back to teaching early childhood education, whenever you got little kids in class and they got snotty noses and bloody lips and stuff like that, I always had a towel on my side to make sure they could blow their nose into it, and they fall down, they cut their lip, you got something to mop up the blood. So now you guys like this is Leo Davis. So if you know who Leo Davis is, which I'm going to try to explain to you, you kind of know who I am. Now, I know I might run long here. My goal is to go past 10:15 to make everybody late for the next class. So, you don't have a class pick, do you? Okay, so Leo Davis, tough guy, all right? He was a boxer. Now, he was born like around 1906. So in the 1920s, late 1920s, he was the light heavyweight champion in New York State. Now, back then, boxing was real popular back then, and they had bouts every weekends and stuff like that. And he was traveling from Binghamton to Syracuse to Rochester to Buffalo, and he always had a fight once every couple weeks. Just like how we have football games once a week. They didn't really have football. They didn't have like the organized football in the leagues and high school football and sectionals and states like that back then. But he was a boxer, like I said, light heavyweight champion, and he won a lot of fights. And in 55 fights, he won 45 of them, but he wasn't a knockout puncher. Okay, he had to use technique. He had to be smart when he fought. So he went the distance on a lot of his fights when he won a lot of fights. And it always remember this because when he had a station wagon, and whenever I rode in the station wagon, he had a little compass. I'm dating myself. Some of you people are my age. There's this compass that he had there, but he also had a comic of the greatest commandment of loving God and loving your neighbor right there on his dashboard. And it kind of reminded me as I started, thinking about him throughout the years, 'cause I think about him every day. When he boxed, he had used technique. And he had this technique called the 1-2 punch, where he set his opponent up to try to beat him up, and then eventually win the victory in the boxing ring. Very similar to what Jesus just did when I talked to you about the greatest commandment. The greatest commandment, love God, love your neighbor. He took people that were surrounded around him and knocked them down with a 1-2 punch. Love God, love your neighbor. Well, Leo Davis was also a 1-2 punch kind of guy. And I'd like to demonstrate it right now. These boxing gloves right up here, I'm going to need a person up here to demonstrate for us the 1-2 punch. Anybody want to put the boxing gloves on? We got some back. Okay, there you go. That goes on the left hand.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Oh yeah, left hand. I'm the coach here. Okay. So now, what you're gonna do? The 1-2 punch, Leo Davis. Okay, you need to talk. I'm a little kid. I was on this heavy bag doing the 1-2 punch all the time. So you're gonna take your left hand, and let's say I'm gonna put the bag up here in a second. Okay. You take your left hand and hit me in the jaw. Okay, or in the chest somewhere. Get a body blow or a face punch with your left hand, and then come when I'm like. Concentrate on your left hand, you can come whack me with the right, okay? So you can hit with the left, come in with the right. It's called the 1-2 punch, all right? Now, all right, here we go. Ready? 1-2. There you go, do it again. Ready? 1-2. There you go, do it again, 1-2. Pretty good. Ready? 1-2. Faster, 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. There you go, baby. There you go. Good job, man. You did that good. Yeah. Carl, you're going to be the... There you go. It was funny because talking with Quinn last week, about high school football, I go, Coach, what'd you play in high school? I played center or something like that. You go, were you better than Carl? I go, no, Carl was a lot better than I was. So they kind of proved it right there. So Leo Davis, I spent my childhood, getting boxing lessons from him. But when he retired from the ring, he took the test for the Rochester Police Department and became a Rochester City cop. All right. So now, Leo Davis is starting a family. This is my mom's dad. My mom was born and stuff like that. So Leo was Rochester City cop. Never carried a gun. He had a billy club. A billy club is like a small baseball bat that he just had on the side right here. And he didn't drive around the cop car. He had a beat. A beat is like a street that you would take care of. And his beat was Front Street. Now, Front Street really isn't there downtown Rochester right now. But at one time, it was a pretty popular place. It was a place with a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, a lot of stores. And if you can picture where Main Street and the river meet. Main Street and the river, that's where Front Street was, because it was in front of the river. That's why they call it Front Street. And he's a pretty tough guy walking his beat, and he wanted to protect the neighborhood. So one night, some drunk comes out of a bar or a restaurant, goes into a pharmacy, a drugstore, when they had drugstores back then, steals something, I don't know, cigarettes, booze, whatever they had in there. So he starts chasing him down Front Street. All of a sudden, the criminal goes into an alleyway and tried to escape my grandfather chasing him down. So he gets in front of the alleyway. The guy's pinned in the alleyway. He goes down the alleyway. Now there's no way out because at the end of the alleyway is a big, huge fence, and outside 2 big concrete walls. So now Leo Davis is there at the only way in and out of the alley. So all of a sudden, this guy got some superhuman strength that happens when you're on drugs. We've been talking about that in health class. And starts to attack him, just runs right at him. And he's in a dead sprint from him. He hit about a 20-yard sprint. And all of a sudden he gets close to him. He goes, "I'm going to knock you out, you dirty cop," and takes a swing at him. And my grandfather ducks, gets up, boom, just like Carl, the old 1-2 punch, knocks him right out, right on the ground. Cracked his, cracks his skull. They had these things called paddy wagons back then. They would blow their whistle, and all of a sudden, a paddy wagon is where a wagon that would come down and pick up the criminals they found on the street, and they didn't even take them to the hospital. They took them right down to the jail. So here it is, Leo Davis, who is a tough guy, a boxer, a cop, my hero, because obviously I knew a lot about him in the short time that he was alive with me, but I hear a lot of stories from his friends and my mom and stuff like that. But he's a guy that loved God. So I'm trying to put it together. How's this tough guy really love God and exercise it and practice it? And my mom said, when she told me stories, that he went to daily mass. He was a daily communicant. He went to mass every day. He wanted to get the body and blood of Christ into him. But he also wanted to help out other priests, not other priests, he wanted to help out other cops go to mass also. So the Rochester's police department, they would start their beats like at 6 o'clock in the morning. One shift was 6 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. And if they had to work on a Sunday, they couldn't go to mass. See, this is back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. They didn't have that Saturday night mass if you couldn't make mass on Sunday. So if Leo Davis had to work a Sunday beat from 6 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, he was going to miss mass because Catholic churches had mass on Sunday mornings. So he went to the bishop and talked the bishop into having a 4:30 a.m. mass on Sunday mornings for the policemen. It was called the policeman mass, and they had it over at St. Monica's and St. Anne's right over here on the west side of the city. So the policemen that had to work on Sunday mornings or work on Sundays could go to mass. 4:30 mass, they would be in for roll call by 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and they would be spiritualized. And that was just all led by my grandfather. And then in his retirement, over in Genesee Street, he started a bike shop. It's called Brooks Bike Shop, right off Brooks Avenue in Genesee Street. And he just wanted to serve the community, and he would fix bikes. He never charged anybody. He had his own shop. If he had busted a bike, he would come in, he would fix the bike. You see, bikes were big back then. You know, now we all have cars, right? Teenagers have cars. We had bikes until we were almost in college. So he was a guy who served the community in a lot of different ways. He was part of the Knights of Columbus. He would like serve people up at the hospital. He visited people. He visited the sick. Went down, took food to the people down in the poor places of the city. So here it is, my hero. He's a tough guy. He's a religious guy. He believes in God. He serves his people. So I guess kind of if you know my grandfather Leo Davis, that you know me. But the thing is, you know, I would think that the day that he died, you know, and he went to heaven, I remember being there at the wake and stuff like that, and it wasn't really a sadness, but I'm sure God took his Gatorade bucket and doused him for a job well done in his life here on earth. But the thing is, in my life, yeah, there's been times I get the bucket dumped on me, but there's been a couple times where it hasn't. When I started my teaching and coaching career, I'm about 23, 24 years old. I was teaching and coaching in another school, and all of a sudden one day, 15-year-old, 16-year-old young man comes up, he's a little on the heavy side, comes up, "Hey, Coach Bates, I want to play football." And I looked at him really sarcastically, and I go lose 50 pounds and then come talk to me. And I kind of felt good about it. So here's this kid, a child of God, who wanted to play football, comes up to me and says, "Hey, Coach, I want to play football. What do I have to do?" "Go lose 50 pounds and then come talk to me." Now that's like going to Quinn Bergeron, Nick LaRocca, and Carl Luther about 5 years ago, saying, "You'll never play a down and played football as long as I'm here." That would not have been a smart thing for me to do, obviously. So later in the day, so you know, the day goes on. I'm not really thinking about this kid coming up and asking me about playing football. Then he comes up later in the day. He goes, "Hey, Coach Bates." "Yeah, what do you want?" He goes, "Can you teach me how to lose 50 pounds? Stopped me in my tracks. Here's a kid, a child of God, came to me, wanted help, and I blew him off at first. Then God took his old Gatorade bucket full of hot scalding water and dumped it over my head and sent that kid back to me. want to know how you can lose 50 pounds. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help out other people. And at first I wasn't going to help. Then we made me realize that I got to do something here. And God put me in my place. The young man put me in my place. I've really been the same since, especially with my coaching. So that young man, just to fast forward the story, he did come out. We got him on a nutrition plan. He did lose weight. He did come out for football, made it through, played it through his senior year and stuff like that. And I guarantee his varsity letter is more important than his high school diploma. And I almost blew that for the kid. So I'm glad God took his Gatorade bucket and dumped it on me and got me to my senses real quick. Sometimes when you want to serve the Lord, it's not easy. It can be disturbing. It can be uncomfortable. It's not all easy. Most of it's not easy. And it's going to put you in situations that you don't want to be in, but you got to do it anyway. When I was at the Hillside Family of Agencies, one of my jobs was put the kids on the bus at the end of the day. And there was this one young boy, about 8 years old. His name was Jaquan. And he had a hard time getting on the bus, settling down on the bus, and he was kind of wild and crazy, and he was bothering other students, and he was bothering the bus driver and stuff like that. So we had to go on the bus, try to get him settled down. Couldn't get him settled down, so now we got to take him off the bus because the bus has got to go to take the other kids home. So we get Jake Kahn off the bus, we take him back into school, we try to de-escalate him and all that kind of stuff. So now about an hour goes by. So how's this kid gonna get home? Coach Bates got to take him home. So we get him in my car, get him calmed down, get him in the car. And sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do. Get the address where he lives, and he lived in, some of the rougher neighborhoods, where there's a lot of, people living on top of each other, and there's a lot of people out and about, and there's the danger of drugs and the danger of violence and stuff like that. So I had to take this Jaquan home. So, as we're driving in my truck and stuff like that, we're having nice conversations and stuff like that. So we get to his house. Now I'm a little nervous, and probably saying a couple prayers underneath my breath. And I got to get this kid into this house. So we get him out of my car, go in the house, there's a guy on the porch, he's stunk and drunk, and he goes, "You the police?" I'm at the police. I'm from the school, I'm just bringing Jaquan home here. Oh, good. Because he was like worried about the police getting him for drug possession or whatever. So I take him into the house, and there's a card game going on around the kitchen table and stuff like that. And the dad is kind of coherent. The mom's passed out drunk on the couch, and I got to leave this child here. And I didn't want to do it. I got to get myself out of that situation, but yet I want to help the kid out too. So what I'm saying is disturbing and uncomfortable serving the Lord, that kind of bothered me. So I talked to the parents, made some communication with the dad, at least made sure that the kid was safe in the house, and then I left. But it just bothered me that there are people that need help in this world, and you're not gonna solve everything. And it still happens this day. Just happened today, Tuesday, Sunday. On Sunday mornings, I go pick up a friend of mine, Father Al Sawicki. 87 years old, take him over to St. John Fisher so he can say Mass there. Then I have to take him down to the House of Mercy so he can say noon Mass there. Now, every time I drive Father Al down, I love doing it. We had great conversations and everything. Get him down there. I know it's going to cost me $5-10 because I'm not even out of my truck yet, and people are on me. Hey, do you have any spare pocket change? Got some money for me? I got to go to the store. I got to get some food. Really probably want to use it for drugs, whatever. But you do it. You just got to do it. So serving the Lord might not be the easiest thing. Could be disturbing, could be uncomfortable, could make you think, but it is definitely something you got to do, because at the end of the day, God's going to be taking his Gatorade bucket and dumping it over you. Now, one more story here before you guys got to get to class. And obviously, people have been on retreat with me. This is, if you want to know who Dan Bates is, or what makes me tick, or why I do all these things and follow Jesus and have a spiritual life and all that kind of stuff, which, like I said, I'm not comfortable talking about. I'm not the kind of guy that's on the corners selling, passing out Bibles and stuff. I would say one saying by one of the saints, your actions should speak so loud that nobody can hear what you say. That's kind of like what I like to be like. But in 2004, there was a movie that came out called The Passion. And this movie moved me. I don't think it changed me, but it moved me. And Mel Gibson produced it, directed, whatever. And powerful movie. But there's one scene in there that just sticks with me. And it sticks with me back then and even to this day. And that's the scene with Simon of Cyrene. Simon of Cyrene was just a regular guy, just like you and me. And he was in the crowd when Jesus was carrying his cross, going up to his death. And Simon Cyrene was taking care of people. And this is maybe an assignment. Coach Bay's giving you an assignment. Go to the movie The Passion and YouTube down the scene with Simon of Cyrene. And he's taking care of kids. He's taking care of women and stuff like that. And he's pulled out of the crowd and told to carry the cross with Jesus. And at first, he doesn't want to go. At first, he balks against it. He gives resistance. Doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to be associated with anything that they're convicting Jesus of. So at first, he's saying, no, no, no. But all of a sudden, something comes over him, and he changes, and he helps out Jesus. And he helps him carry his cross. And there's a scene in there where Jesus is carrying the cross, and Simon of Cyrene takes his arm, and he puts it around the cross, arm in arm with Jesus. And that's why I got this cross here, because I need 2 volunteers. I need one guy to be Jesus, and one guy to be Simon of Cyrene. So I hope it's going to be a senior. 2 seniors. Go on, guys. All right. All right. Maybe Jesus or Simon?
I'll be Jesus.
All right. Get on this side here. Get on this side, all right. Santino's going to be Jesus, carrying the cross. Put your arm around it here this way then. Okay. All right.
I know Simon's not there.
And actually, you're right. Probably, can we get
it on there?
Yeah. Well, I'll hold it from the back here, but I want to get the arm. I want to simulate the movie here. Can you get it over here and grab it up here? Grab it like right up here. There you go. All right, Quinn, you come on in. Quinn, he's Simon of Cyrene. This is us right here. This is Jesus over here. I want you to put your arm around this right here, okay? So both these guys, Jesus and Simon of Cyrene, are walking up Calvary together, arm in arm. This is what life is. This is what life and love is to me. This is Dan Bates talking. You can believe it, you cannot believe it, I don't care what you think. But this is one of us right here, walking arm in arm with Jesus up the road to his crucifixion. Every day, Jesus is taking his Gatorade bucket and all the blood that he splattered up there on the cross, he pours onto you every day. Whether you like it or not, he's pouring his blood on you every day. Period, end of sentence. Guys, thank you very much for this. Good. I know so really, you guys did a great job imitating that, but go on to the movie and watch it. It's a lot more because you got the chains clanking and everything like that. That's your assignment before you graduate from here. Make sure you look that up on YouTube. So I know I'm going to try to stall another 5 minutes, make these guys late for class. But I remember being on retreat last year, leading the Kairos. We came back, and we were talking about some of the things that happen on retreat and the small acts of kindness. That's what you have to do. You're not going to go out here. I haven't done anything earth-shattering in my live. I just try to go along every day just doing the little things. And Aiden, remember what I do in the grocery store? Turn to the barcodes. Is Brian Sanchez here? I went through Brian's line one day.
Over here.
Brian, there you go. Remember I came through your line that one day?
Yeah.
And you were so fast I couldn't even do it. But one of the things I try to do is when I go to the grocery store is when I get on the belt there and I put in the groceries, I put all the barcodes facing the cashier so the cashier can just go and go really, really fast. And I started doing that a long time ago. And I bet a good 50, 60 times went by. The cashier never even acknowledged it. Didn't even know what was happening. But all of a sudden one day, the cashier is like, and I kind of forgotten about it. She's like laughing and smiling. I go, what are you laughing and smiling? I go, you know you got the barcodes lined up facing me and all that kind of stuff. And you got the cans over here and the boxes over here. I go, yeah, I'm going to be the nicest customer you ever had. That's my goal. That's my goal. Make things easier for somebody else. You know, Brian, I didn't get it that one day when I came in there about 6 months ago. Brian was working at Wegmans. Saw Brian there. I could go to anybody. I saw Brian going to Brian. But he was so good, I couldn't get the stuff out of my cart fast enough for him to have it in the bags. But it's those small acts of kindness that you can do. I have an 83-year-old aunt. I call her my other mother. She never had children. She followed me around all my life, went to all my college football games, no matter where they were. She was there at everything. I call her my other mother. She's full-blown Alzheimer's at 83 years old. She sits in the nursing home right now in a reclined wheelchair, can't move her arms. and she just sits there. But she can eat. So I don't want to make it sound like she's an animal, but I have a goal twice a week to go over there and have dinner or lunch with her and feed her. And the thing is, too, I got a funny joke going with all the nurses at the nursing home. I always take a big bag of candy. Thank you for taking care of my aunt when I can't be here. And they love it. They got a nickname. They call me the Candy Man. Hey, the Candy Man's here. You ought to see these ladies. I got a big brown paper bag. You put it down. I mean, they're like, it's like ants going after a piece of crumb. They're like getting to the bag trying to find what's in there. Just, small acts of kindness that just help on a daily basis. So, like I said, doing God's work can be uncomfortable. It can, infringe on the time. It can infringe on the time that you want to, do things for yourself. But as we're getting into the Christmas time, and you see the tree over there, and you're thinking of the manger, your life goes just like Jesus' life. It goes from the crib to the cross. Life goes from the crib to the cross, and everything you do in between, that's your life. All right? So we got the Christmas season here. I saw a cute little bumper sticker the other day. I say cute, I didn't really like it. But it says, put Christ into Christmas. Oh, nice, put Christ into Christmas. Put you into Christ. That's what you have to do. I don't know if it's making any sense. Comes out with a Gatorade Dump. I'm trying to correlate it with this. But just know that Jesus is up there, whether you like it or not. He's going to be dumping that Gatorade all over you. I try to live my life every day in Christ. And I want Jesus to dump that Gatorade bucket on me all the time, okay? And we just had a fantastic football season. It was awesome. And right now, after all the things that Carl went through with me for the last 5 years, and all the things that Quinn went through with me for the last 5 years, and Nick, you three guys, man, I don't know how you guys are still talking to me. But I got one more thing for you, because you guys did such a great job. Job well done. Just like I kind of said in the thing last night, the Gatorade bucket is a symbol of the job well done. I want to dump the Gatorade bucket on you guys for sticking with me for the last 5 years. So I need Carl, I need Nick, I need Quinn right up here. I got towels. Right there, buddy. Right there.
Oh yeah, let's go, Coach.
Right there. I got towels. It won't be that bad. I got a change of clothes for you guys down the locker room. Okay? Stand right there. Stand together. Okay, get together, shoulder to shoulder, face the crowd. Now you know how it feels. You gotta face the crowd. All right. That's all right. Angela, I need a broom. Angela's here. I know Angela's here. I need a broom. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you, everybody. There you go.